Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. So, how is everybody today? Hope everyone's well. Hello, one person here. Welcome in. Alright, okay, then I'm here now. Oh, hello Jeffrey, how you doing? Hope you're well today, thank you for the like. So yeah, I'm just out walking at the moment. Yeah. What are you up to today? Been a bit wet lately, but it's that time of year again, isn't it? Getting towards winter time and just, yeah, weather becomes more unsettled and yeah, well, not really. Just need to go into town. Just gotta get a bit of shopping sort of thing, really. Not use it, go right into the centre, because I was saying the other day, I don't really like being around people in town too much. I don't know, it just gets a bit much. You get all these idiots and just like, the more I'm around like loads of people, the more I just find it obnoxious. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but yeah, I just find it kind of obnoxious and just not very pleasant, really. It just feels a bit kind of, I don't know, like you've got some of these kind of dicks on their bikes. You've got people just kind of, I don't know, these kind of scumbag type of people around. There's just a whole bunch of just not very nice kind of people, even in York, where you would think it would be, you know, fairly respectable or whatever. But hello Ali, I'm from the UK. Where are you from? If you're new here, please subscribe, hit that like button. Apparently got 26 people in the house, so welcome in everyone. Hope you're all having a great day today. Let's get this show down if you can. That would be really appreciated. I don't know, it's just some people are just like, I don't know, it just really it gets a bit annoying. You get these people zipping down on their bikes and stuff, and it's like they have absolutely no manners. But I mean, I struggle sometimes. I've had times with bad manners and stuff, and I don't know, it just kind of, I just find it just like, I don't know, I just don't really want to be around all these people. I just find it just annoying. But, you know, it is what it is. It's, I like to just get away. I just find I can be more at peace when I'm just like around less people. I don't know. I remember someone else saying that, like when they go into like a park where it's pretty quiet and suddenly there's a sense of like peacefulness about that. Going from all the kind of hustle and bustle and just everyone all rushing to be somewhere. There's a sort of like sense of stress and, you know, kind of urgency about that, and once you get out of all that, the atmosphere completely changes. So I think that's one of the reasons why being out in nature is really good for you, because you're just away from all that crap, aren't you? But there's this thing called fighting slides as well, which are really beneficial and stuff. So, but I was looking into this thing so basically dehydration is one of the worst things for your body. I think they found on average that dehydration, so when they only had like less than 1.5 litres of water a day, that their cortisol levels on average are about 50% higher than those who got enough water. So it shows how being dehydrated is very bad for your health. It's one of the worst things you can do. So I might make some content about like hydration and stuff, and how drinking water is really beneficial for you, and because your body can't really function properly without adequate water. It's like we're made mostly of water, so it makes sense. It's like all of our cells, they all need water. Especially like your muscle cells are about 75% water. So, hello Oliver, how you doing? What do you mean? Anyway, so drinking water regularly and not letting yourself get dehydrated, it's very important. If you don't drink enough water, it can cause cramps, but it's also, like I say, it's a stressor to the body. The body starts to then kind of like panic, because it's natural. It's like, say if you're like in a starvation ball, stress the body out, it's gonna raise cortisol, it's gonna really just like cause problems in the body. So these basic things that we need to make sure that we have it under control. I mean, otherwise it's like you can forget about supplements and things like that, because they're just supplements. It's a supplement what you already have. It's like, but you got to obviously have all your basics down, because if you're chugging down a load of supplements but then but you're not really getting a proper diet, for example, then where's the point? You might as well sort out your... Hello Jim, how you doing? I hope you're well. Welcome in. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of this nonsense out of the chat. Hit that like button, everybody. Come on, guys. Hello Luca, how are you doing? Okay, we're just getting these like stupid people in the chat. I really can't be bothered. Like, I have just no like interest in these nonsense kind of accounts. Just be serious in here right now, or are they just a bunch of like friggin', I don't know, maybe it's just that time of day, I don't know. I thought they'd all be doing something else at this time of day, I guess, but I don't know. It is what it is, isn't it? But anyway, can you guys hit that like button, please? Again, if you're new here, please subscribe, because I'm trying to build this channel up. And yeah, hello Max, how you doing? Hope you're well today. Good morning to you, thank you for the like. So it's just talking about hydration and how it's very, very important. It's an underestimated like importance. There's actually been some study come out that found that dehydration can increase cortisol by over 50%, which is crazy. Like, that is massive. So that can really suppress your body. It can make you get ill and stuff. So hi George. Oh really? I don't think so. Don't think you sent that, did you? Anyway, oh yeah, reminds me of that thing. Has anyone seen that Shrek is Life, Shrek is Love thing, whatever it's called? Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life. It's like one of the weirdest videos. Was it that there was that whole like creepypasta thing? Was it? I guess it was kind of like one of those sort of things. They call them like creepypastas or something. These like creepy videos that it was like a kind of like, there was like era around maybe about 10 years ago or so. And there was these like weird videos coming out. And yeah. Anyway. But yeah, it was like a lot of those type of videos would come out, and these weird and creepy videos. Has anyone ever seen Backrooms before? I mean, that's been out for a few years now as well, isn't it? But yeah, it's like found footage. I was actually watching some like found footage like a video, like a mini film sort of thing. I actually quite like that style because to me it's like a lot of this horror stuff that comes out, it's almost like it takes away from the horror by it being too kind of too theatrical and too kind of, you know what I mean, all the cinematics and all that kind of stuff, you know, it just makes it too kind of I don't know, it almost becomes kind of corny at that point. There's something about like the rawness of, like, say, like the found footage kind of stuff that makes it feel more like authentic in a sense, like you're actually watching a real film, like, as opposed to some kind of, you know, like, you know what I mean? Because obviously, like with films, like the way they do them, they're constantly cutting to different scenes, having all these different things that just don't really feel real. Whereas, you know, if you're watching some found footage, it's like you're watching an actual kind of, you know, like an actual real recording. That's what the effect that they're trying to, you know, give with these sort of like found footage films. So it's like kind of like takes the idea from like liminal spaces, but some argue that it's not really liminal because there's actually like once they actually find the monsters and stuff, it's like then it's like it no longer feels liminal anymore because it's occupied. The whole thing about a liminal space is that it's not occupied, or at least it seems like in there, and there's that whole kind of mystery about, am I alone or am I not alone? And as soon as that kind of gets broken, then the focus goes from the liminal space to the actual kind of monsters or whatever. So it's just, yeah, I don't know, but I've seen a few of the clips of like back rooms and stuff, and I'm sure I've heard that they're bringing a movie out. I would like to maybe see that actually. And I'm not really a big movie fan, to be honest, especially like a lot of the new stuff. I've just have no interest in watching it. Like, I haven't seen the last Final Destination film. I've seen the first few of them, but like I haven't really, it's like I watched a bit of the last one, I was like, okay, yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch the rest of it. I feel like they just started getting a bit kind of, that's the thing with a lot of these new movies that come out, feels very uninspired, or either that or it's just becomes too woke and too politicized, you know, and it just actually ends up destroying it. Like they put all these woke messages in it, or they do some kind of like, it's like they do a lot of this like race swapping and stuff like that. It's just pissing people off because they're basically like changing history to something else. Basically, it's like, you know, by, you know, swapping the race to something else, why can't they, you know, find a different story or something like that? It's like, are they that kind of it's like they're just too lazy to actually, or either that or they're too scared, you know, to like, you know, to try something different. But people are getting sick of it, you know. It's all about money, isn't it, to them? It's all about money, it's all about, but I think that if they actually cared about representing the races and whatever, then you'd, instead of, you know, trying to race swap character that was meant to be white, is they would actually use some black folk story or something like that, or other race or something, you know what I mean? Like, that would make more sense as a way to do that, you know. It's like you would use there's all sorts of different folk stories, but it's like they're too afraid to like to take a chance on it. So it's not even about being lazy, it's just the fact that they're afraid that these things won't work, so they just kind of like try and just stick with what they think works, but it ends up actually just probably doing more harm, really, because look what's happened with a lot of these remakes that they keep coming out with, you know, and it's just a load of crap in it, you know. It's like, look at there's this new Snow White and it's just full of woke nonsense, you know, trying to like push a feminist kind of narrative, and yeah, like the like to dislike ratio on it, it's just absolutely got destroyed. Hello Ali, how you doing? I hope you're well. People are getting sick of this nonsense. It's like no one wants to see like rehashes, and the you know, they basically are trying to act like, you know, it's like, oh well, it doesn't matter that because it's like, you know, about the, you know, colour of the skin or whatever, but it's like literally just, it's not faithful to the original. So maybe it's a point in time where it's like, instead of trying to, you know, to remake that story, to, you know, maybe like I said, do a you know, a black folk story or something, so then they're actually being represented properly instead of being represented, you know, in a white story, which doesn't make any sense. You know, it's just this whole kind of like woke mafia, it's got crazy now. It's like ruining things. They're trying to like infiltrate, and these companies that it's like they'll just keep pandering to whatever, because there's probably a bunch of like investors who are trying to push these things through. So these companies, they end up feeling obliged to actually comply, like Disney and whatever, you know, they just comply with the friggin' woke nonsense, and just like, because otherwise they're afraid of losing money or something. But then they probably end up losing more money in the long run. There's this whole thing of go broke, what is it, go woke, go broke. I mean, it's like, look what happened with the Bud Light advertisement, you know, with the, you know, using some kind of like, that, you know, like, you know, whatever you want to call, whether it's a he or a she, whatever, but, you know, like Dylan, was it Dylan, whatever, it's like just I don't know, there's just something, it's not even about the whole trans thing, it's like there's something about that person that just really doesn't sit right with me. It's like, I don't know if anyone else feels like that. It's just some of these people, it's like the way that they're propped up and they just suddenly blow up out of nowhere, and it's like they're probably not even good people, and it's like, you know, they probably get exposed for something at some point, right? It's like the whole, like, it's like you get all these people like Ellen DeGeneres and all these people who are like, you know, they're there to supposedly like advocate for like inequalities and things like that, but it's like, turns out they're usually a bunch of narcissists, and that's what I get that vibe from a lot of these people who, you know, like that Dylan or whatever. It's just, they'll try and kind of like, they try and sort of like act like victims or whatever, or they'll try and kind of act like there's some kind of, you know, fighting for injustices, but I don't really think they're genuinely actually into all that. So whatever, fuck off. What's going on with this chat? It's just, this chat is really kind of messed up. I don't know. We only seem to be getting just like immature people at the moment, so don't know what they're doing. What time is it? Maybe they're on school break or something. Is that what it is? Because they've got nothing better to do. Have they actually not got any friends or anything like that? So then they try to kind of just mess around. So that's probably what it is. It's around that time where they're out on break. So that would make sense. But like I said, you know, just like they said, they're just, you know, ruining these modern films. They're ruining a lot of things. Like, you know, it's just, you know, whenever you bring in certain kind of people into, like, you know, when if you have certain people endorsing your company, like, it's a very kind of like dangerous thing to be doing. Just look what happened all pushback, and then I think they ended up, you know, getting a lot of people boycotting it, you know. So you got to be careful not to like have a bunch of like political kind of people endorsing your products, because you know it's this whole kind of like guilt by association thing, and people are gonna, you know, see you differently when you have these, whether you agree with what they're saying or not. It's like, you know, it's just, I don't think it's a very wise move really, but anyway. So yeah, I hope everyone's well today. We've got 12 people here. Hit that like button, everybody. Yeah, I guess they're all a bunch of haters or something, a lot of them. But it is what it is, or just lovely, sad people, I don't know. But just walking at the moment and just kind of like getting a few things off my chest really, and just hi Toby, I'm doing fine, thank you, how are you doing? I was just ranting about the whole kind of woke nonsense and how it's been ruining a lot of stuff. It's, you know, how they're trying to push it in people's faces, and it's just, yeah, people are getting sick of it all. But it's like, but there's still people trying to like push these messages in the movies and TV and adverts and things like that. And it's just, you know, wise, but then again, they could have, you know, sort of, you know, obligation, like, shall we say. Because sometimes people get certain investors who, they could be like, oh, well, we're going to pull out our investment if you don't do what we say. Because when you become an investor, especially if you're quite a big investor in a company, you actually have quite a lot of power. In fact, if anything, sometimes you even have more power than the company themselves, because if you own a big chunk of it, you can be like, oh, well, if you don't do what you say, you know, I'm gonna, you know, pull out my investment. You know, whatever share they have in that company, they have to then sell it. Hello, selling, having. Look at True Jordan, mate. Made one joke that upset Muslims and lost all his support, all his sponsors. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, I know. But then you could be some quite divisive person who's like I said, this Dylan person, Dylan Mulvaney, I think it's called. And you're just like, it seems like quite a narcissistic kind of person who's just kind of like, you know, just like, it's these kind of people that they don't really seem to have any real talent or anything, and they're only famous because they're a victim, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, he's volatile. What do you mean? Are you on about Dylan? It's just like, it's not the fact that he or she is trans or anything. It's the fact that a lot of these people are quite narcissistic. It's like, for example, when Ricky Gervais made a joke about Caitlyn Jenner, it wasn't the fact that she's trans, it was the fact of like her personality. But then people twisted it. Like, I remember Frankie Boyle was like, you know, saying that jokes about transgenders are like lame or something like that. Even though he's, I don't know like why he said that. It was like, it's like he got triggered or something, unless he was just trying to kind of trigger. But how is that going to help him? I don't know, because people just end up losing respect for him then, because, you know, it's like when we were, he was like, you know, he went on Golden Globes, it was absolutely epic when he just completely like laid into the you know, like the Hollywood, and the thing is, he's been part of all that stuff, hasn't he? You know, he's been in Office, he's had a lot of shows, hasn't he? You know, he's had on TV, you know, he's been on different, you know, he's had stand-up, you know, so, you know, he's been in that whole entertainment industry, and so he's seen it for himself. It's kind of like, yeah, like well, there was like Jim Carrey, and he's seen a lot of stuff, I think, and I don't know, people have said that he's kind of like had a bit of a, what is it, mental health or whatever, but I think it's just, these things can really take a toll on people, you know. But it's just that there's a lot of messed up things going on in Hollywood and in general, and not entertainment in general, but it's it's become a it's become an absolute shit show. You've got people being exposed left, right and centre. You've got, and it's the same with a lot of these like influencers now as well. Like, you've got all these influencers being called out for being either hypocrites or they've, you know, been exposed for something that they've done. Now, I'm not really on board with like cancel culture in general. If someone's made a mistake a long time ago, it's like there was that whole Jenna Marbles thing, and she got like cancelled, and then she like basically pretty much felt like she was forced to leave over that. And it's not right when it gets to that kind of point. You know, when someone's just made a mistake in the past, and there's people deliberately just trying to like, it's like they have a vendetta against somebody. So you have to really be careful what you're putting out, because the funny thing is, right, a lot of these people who are looking to cancel others, they themselves could get cancelled if they said the wrong thing, you know. So it's a very kind of like, I can't remember who said that, but it's like all these people that are like, you know, about the cancel culture and all that, and they're supporting all of that, but then things that they've said themselves could end up being cancelled because it changes. I think it might have been Ricky Gervais that said that about how, you know, that are seen as acceptable may not be acceptable in a few years' time. Because it's like there was that Little Britain thing, right, with and you might say it was a bit, you know, kind of in bad taste or whatever, but it was kind of funny at the time, whatever. But it's like, and they'll just kind of, but they took it off air. You can still see it if you want to. It's on the channel and all that. But you know, it's just sad to see how you know, like things just like become kind of like that. You know, what was the other one? I think it was, what was it called? Come Fly With Me. I think it was the other program that. So I remember I used to watch that one actually. Like. Yeah, it was had the same characters. What is it? Matt Lucas and David Williams. It's got quite funny. But yeah, I think that's been cancelled as well, if I remember, or at least partly. It's like it's just, you can't get away with anything nowadays. I remember someone was like saying that like about Only Fools and Horses is racist or whatever, but it's like, the thing is, it's comedy, right? Whatever is done in comedy is not meant to be taken seriously, but it's like these people can't see that, and they think that anything that's said is taken seriously. And that's really boring if you're like one of these kind of people that you can't separate, you know, reality from like kind of just you're just playing around and just having fun. These are some of the most boring people, I think, because they're just so easily offended. So then what can you even get away with saying, you know, what can you even say without hurting these people, without triggering them? You know, it's just like, you know, it's just, you just feel like you can't get away with anything. So you're just walking on eggshells all the time, worrying about saying the wrong thing. Right, Sean, what about Benny Hill? Hi, CC, good to see you. How are you doing? I was just having a bit of a rant about the whole kind of woke culture, and I don't know, maybe it's going to die soon. I hope that it will, but it's just, I guess there's always going to be some people out there that will try and, I don't know. I guess it's just, you get events that happen every so often where it's like, for example, when you had the whole kind of, you know, like the George Floyd thing, and then suddenly there was all these people doing all this kind of performative activism, they call it, where they're virtue signaling about Black Lives, trying to put out certain polls to try and kind of, show how much they care about Black Lives, when all they're doing is just kind of, someone made a point about this, how what they're doing by doing that is basically muddying the waters, because oftentimes they'll put out these things that are, like sometimes half truths mixed with lies and stuff like that, things taken out of context. So like people will read these things and then they'll see that as true, but then later it'll come out that there was some misinformation there, and all it does is, sort of like muddy waters. It's like people just trying to like get certain posts out, and then because it's like they all want to try and get all these virtue points, and it's kind of pathetic, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's all for show. It's just they're just trying to like virtue signal to each other about how much. It's just because they wouldn't actually go out there and actually really make any real change happen. It's all performative, really, isn't it? It's all for show, like you said. It's how you doing anyway, Sean? If anyone's new here, please subscribe. You're still there, CC. We'll be getting off in a few minutes, but yeah, it's like everything's pretty much just for show now. Even like when you see people with like houses, they'll show these, and you'll think that they own them, but they don't. Now you might say, well, they're not saying that they own them, but the thing is that they're lying by omission, really. We just dropping in, okay. Yeah, I get that. It's gonna be difficult, I guess, but it's like, so you're lying by omission. It's like, because if you're promoting a course and then you're trying to show your house, it's like that Tai Lopez thing. And then some people might be then thinking, oh, well, they bought that house with the money that they've got from that, and it's like, but they haven't. They lease it. So it's a lease. It's a rental, basically. So, I mean, you could say, well, it's still expensive to have a rental, but like, I don't know, but a lot of it is just fake and it's just for show. And sometimes they don't even rent these places. Sometimes it's even just, they just hire out that space just for the video. Or they might even just hire that car for the video. Like they might just spend a few £100 and just, look at this house I've got. And then people then go and show that that house has been put up on some like website, like Airbnb or something, I don't know, like, not Airbnb, maybe something else, I don't know, but it's like, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? They don't even know what they're standing up for. Just standing for the current thing. Just a bunch of like, yeah, just a bunch of like crusaders. They're trying to, because they want to feel like they're on the right side of history, but they haven't even really looked into what it is they're even protesting. For all they know, they're being, led, directly into hell. But as far as they're concerned, it's like, it's just, they're trying to do something good, but you have to really do your research. I guess that's too hard for some people. But yeah, it's just all these people trying to like, the thing is, even if they did own that house, the thing is that it's not because of that, that they've owned the house. It's like they just rented this place, and then they're like, oh, this is how you get there, using this method. But the real method is that they just sold you the course, and then, that they make money from that. Where am I headed? I'm just going to go do a little bit of shopping, but yeah, it's all just like smoke and mirrors, as they say. It's all just a bunch of nonsense. Oh, it just seems like almost everything these days is just smoke and mirrors, trying to have you believe in some kind of fairy tales and things like that. someone's some kind of like successful person, but it's this whole fake it till you make it thing. But then you know, it's easy to get exposed now. But then again, some of these people may have not really thought about that when they did that, because actually though, then again, social media was already popping off back then, so they were already getting exposed. Some of these have been at it for maybe 10 years or so, and it's like, and it's just pretty obvious that these people are just, you know, they're just faking everything, and then what they do is that sometimes they even start Ponzi schemes to then, you know, try and convince people that they're successful to get some, you know, funding, and then they'll use that to then pay off other investors. It's just so like, yeah, it's just so scummy. But the thing is, their time will come when they're fucked. It's like, if you do something bad in this world, I think most of the time you will eventually get caught out. I suppose it's good now, like I said, with social media, it's like, even things like predators, it's like, they're gonna get like exposed a lot easier now, because someone could have some evidence and then it gets leaked everywhere and it just spreads like wildfire. Whereas say like, but then again, on the flip side, it can also be dangerous where people can spread fake screenshots and things like that to then destroy people's lives. So there's the flip side to it as well, where someone could be completely destroyed over, you know, someone just trying to destroy your reputation. So you just have to be very careful and yeah, just become worried that that's what some people will do. And yeah, it's oftentimes people will, you know, accuse people, but then they'll not actually show any proof. Like, they'll not give any proof to it. So some people are just easily will just kind of believe the accuser. So that's something that people need to learn to just not just automatically believe in the accuser, because sometimes they're not telling the truth. I think the problem is that Me Too thing has gone too far, I think, because then it's like, you know, like innocent men can be like seen as guilty. They just assume them to be guilty, and I don't think that's fair, because not every. So I remember I was arguing with someone about this, and you know, like I remember it was someone on TikTok, and she seemed to have a very kind of biased opinion, and I was saying like not every woman, you know, is telling the truth. Like sometimes they want to ruin a man's life, especially, you know, with like Me Too, but she wasn't having it. She was like. And then she come up with some BS statistic about how many, you know, like women have been, you know, what shall we say the word? I don't want to say the word, but you know what I mean. That they've involuntarily been, you know, and it's just another. Yeah, that's the thing. I suppose, like with the whole Amber Heard thing, I suppose that was quite a big event, but there's still some people who will still believe that, you know, men are guilty until proven innocent. And there'll probably be people out there that will be like, oh, well, maybe Johnny Depp was not innocent and whatever. But yeah, I remember that whole Amber Heard thing. It was just an absolute mess. So yeah, I don't know. It was just a lot of these. Yeah, people just trying to. Maybe it was to try and scam him out. Was she like trying to scam him out of money or something? I don't know. But yeah, that whole sort of Me Too. It's like I don't know. I mean, but this wasn't that long ago when I was talking with this person about it. And she was like trying to kind of bring up something about. Well, she was talking about India or somewhere like that. About like, you know, how many women it's happened to, but I'm like, well, we're not talking about India, because that's obviously like you know, something that's quite common in places like that. But you know, it's like we live in the UK, so of course it's really bad that when stuff like that happens there, but they have a completely different. We're the 81, how you doing? I'm not saying that these things don't happen here, but it's like it was the way that she was trying to skew a narrative. And the funny thing is that she was like, I think she said she had like a psychology degree or something like that, and she was like, and I'm thinking, well, it's like she was trying to use some kind of like manipulation to try and kind of, you know, to paint her own narrative. And I really don't like it when people do that. And when I saw it, I kind of got a bit triggered because I'm like, I can see what you're trying to do here. I can see that you're trying to kind of demonize and try and kind of. And she also brought something up about like how, you know, men tend to benefit more from marriage than women, but it's like, I mean, is that actually really true? Degrees are about as relevant as toilet paper, yeah. The thing is that we've got to understand that like most divorces are initiated by a woman. Like something like 70+% of divorces are initiated by a woman, and that's actually true. And like, the thing is, right, so she was like saying that stuff about that, right? So about like how men tend to benefit more, but the thing is that a lot of women will just get married, get divorced, and then like screw a man over. In that case, they're actually benefiting from that. They're actually benefiting from getting married to them so that they could take half their stuff and then divorce them. Of course, I think men should be a bit smarter and like maybe do a prenup or something like that before getting married, so that way they protect themselves. There are ways to protect yourself if, you know, if you're smart, but yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, they usually get the kids, and oftentimes it shouldn't even go to the women because, you know, in fact, I think they found that, like, we were talking about this last night, that, and this might trigger some women out there, but I think I heard somewhere that this was mentioned as well before, that if, you know, when it, you know, like when a child gets, you know, when one of the parents get the custody, it tends to be that the man does a better job of bringing them up. Now, I don't know how true that is, but it's like, the thing is that the man is very important in a child's upbringing in terms of like, especially when it comes to things like providing structure, providing like things like giving them responsibilities, discipline, teaching them life skills. Of course, women can do that to, you know, as well, and some women are great at doing that. But the point is that oftentimes it's better when a man is like able to give that kind of very, you know, sort of like, you know, sort of like, you know, like give that sort of sense of, you know, responsibility and things like that, the way that the man would do it, and a kind of energy that they put out, which is of like, you know what I mean? It's a certain kind of like, you know, when it's like when a man is giving you like, not giving you orders, but they're giving you a sort of like, they have a certain authority, not in a bossy or any of that way, but like in a sort of, you know, that they will establish boundaries, and they will do things like that where they will be somewhat strict but also not too strict sort of thing. It's like, whereas oftentimes, you know, if it's just a woman, then it can just end up being to where, well, it can also go to the extreme where she can like be too mollycoddling in some cases. Either that, or it's the other extreme of being quite neglectful, and obviously men can do that as well. There's a lot of, you know, deadbeat fathers, but the point is that I think without that structure and that stability there, they can, and that sort of balance of like, we need to let them kind of, you know, we need to let them explore who they are and things like that, and let them, you know, you know, take small risks and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the thing. When they just, you know, they rejected all these good men, instead of they've got a nasty guy who treats them like shit. So just keep perpetuating their own misery. It's almost like they want to. It's almost like they just want to be victims in a lot of cases. It's like, I can't really have a lot of respect for people who do that, knowing who they get with is bad, but still choosing to stay with them. It's like, what is wrong with you? You know, if you're gonna let, you know, that happen, and it's just, I don't know, I just think it's crazy, like, but oftentimes, this is the thing, is that oftentimes women will act it out of emotion, and this is why, going back to the whole upbringing of children, where if a woman, you know, acts without that kind of sense of logical, rational thinking, she can sort of just end up, you know, messing things up and just point and laugh. Yes, you can just be like, it could be dangerous, because it's either going to be like she's going to stop the child from really being able to develop properly by not letting them go and do like things like rough play and stuff like that, or they neglect them and they just end up with no real structure in their life, and they just get left to just, I mean, of course some men, but the thing is that I think what I'm saying is that if you're a good parent, then you're probably like, I'm actually going to say that you might actually be one of the minority. It might sound quite harsh, but like, come to realise, hello Emily, how you doing? I hope you're well, that I don't think most parents are really that good, to be honest. There's probably a minority that are actually good. Because I think a lot of times it comes down to like having children without really planning it. Without really planning, you know, like things, and just kind of, it just happens, you know. Hi Naveen, how you doing? No, there's 3 in now. And when people they do all these things and they don't really think it through, they just, you know. Yeah, I mean, if you're new here, please subscribe. I will be getting off in a second. I have to get some food and stuff, but it's like, you know, I could literally get cancelled for saying this shit, you know. That's the thing. It's like, people are afraid to even say stuff like this, you know, because it goes so much against like whatever, you know, the narrative is. So it's just that when women say they don't need a man, but then they're obsessed over, you know, over it though. It's like they're obsessed over a particular man that they can't get, basically. Like they want a man who's, you know, good looking, they want a man who's able to provide for them and all that, but yet they don't bring anything to the table themselves, you know. Of course, like there's a lot of women that do, and the fact that, you know, they bring children into the world, that is something that very sort of like, if you're willing to like put yourself through that, it's a very kind of, you know, requires sacrifice and to go through some suffering, and well, thank you, CC. It's like it requires a lot of, because it's like, you know, men don't have to go through that. So I think we have to, as men, really appreciate the struggles of women and all like the things like the, you know, they go through like periods and things like that. They go through a lot of suffering. So I have to try and empathise with it. But also, women need to also empathise with the struggles that men face. But the whole thing to say that we don't need somebody is like, you're just kind of deluding yourself, because we all bring something unique to the table, and people don't want, generally speaking, they don't want to feel useless, that they're not needed. Parenting isn't for everyone, I know. The problem is that some people will, some people will just kind of have it without really thinking about it, and things just happen. It's quite selfish when it happens. Hi, Roman, good to see you again. How are you doing? So I'm just kind of standing here at the moment because, like I said, I'm going into the shop in a minute, but I'm doing fine, thank you. Yeah, parenting definitely isn't for everyone. Like I said, if you can't bring your children up properly, if you don't have enough money to do it as well, then you're going to need to like sort that out first, I think, because it's not fair to bring children into the world and then to feed them, to only feed them like crappy food because you can't afford anything good. So making money isn't just about yourself, it's about your future and about your family and things. Like Mint Chocolate, how you doing? You alright? Hope you're well. It's about like think about your future, like what you want, what if you want a family, let's say, then you would want to have enough money for that. And if you don't want a family, then what can you use that money for? Maybe you can use it to benefit society in some way if you have a lot of money. It's like you have the options to do that. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, well, good luck, Robin. Yeah, just if anyone wants to go and subscribe to him, I'd go and check it out, whatever. But yeah, actually though, I'd have to have given him like moderator or something, but I'm not doing that right now. But yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Just gonna get something to eat, but like I said, it's just this whole thing of like, women saying they don't need men, and then men saying they don't need women. It's just this kind of like thing of like kind of the whole thing of like us versus them, and all that thing of fighting against each other. It's pathetic, really, isn't it? Not in a nasty way. What do you mean? The whole thing of all men are pigs, all women are sluts, that kind of narrative. The problem with thinking like that is that even if 99% of the people were, there's still 1% that aren't. And there's a lot of people out there. So we can't have this kind of like black and white thinking on things, or like absolutes. I think it's really, dangerous to have this mentality on things, that this old mentality is the problem. Thinking that all people are this way, all people are that way. It's like with the race thing as well. People thinking that, all people from this race are that way. No. That's quite a narrow-minded view on things. I think it's just easier just to kind of, to not have like nuance and like, but you can't really have like intelligent conversations with some people because it would just be good job that I don't really talk to any of these people, but some people would be quite hard to really kind of talk to because they have very narrow-minded views. They're like very absolutist minded. It's like that you don't know everybody out there. You don't know, even if you've met 10 people and they're all a certain way from a certain group of people, doesn't mean that every single person from that group of people is that way. Like I said, even if 99% are, there still leaves 1% that aren't. There's millions of people that would then be that way. So yeah. So you boast every single day. Yeah, I would say like if you're really trying to build it up, but it's like as long as the posts that you're putting out are good quality, because you don't want to just post for the sake of it, just to try and blow it up, because that could just lead to just putting out slop content, and it just ends up like not really doing very well. So I would say just put out stuff that you're interested in, dedicate some time to researching and whatever, and trying to find something to make a video about, and then just kind of like don't force it is what I'm saying, because you're just going to end up burning yourself out, I would say. You want to be somewhat consistent, but like, it might be okay just to skip a day here and there, but if you have nothing to talk about, but maybe you could start going live as well and just interacting with your people. Right, what's that? What's this? You could have a group of 12 people, but only 5 out of them might get on well with everyone, but the rest just put up with it and then be two-faced behind your back. Yeah, this is the thing. It's like, that's the thing with these large groups, is you don't really know everybody, and it's like, you don't know what everybody's like kind of intentions are. Some people have ulterior motives. Some people are secretly rivals with each other, you know? So, because apparently that was happening with this group of people that I was in a while ago, and it was just, there was some toxic stuff going on where they would just all kind of act like they're friends with each other, but secretly they're all rivals. And it's just, the thing is that a lot of people are like jealous of others who have these friendship groups, but oftentimes, like you said, a lot of them are, with groups can be quite toxic. I prefer just usually one-on-one sort of stuff. I tend to do better. Maybe it's just the more kind of introversion. As soon as you start getting groups, I tend to oftentimes be quite quiet, because I don't know how I'm going to try and be part of that conversation. And usually the conversations, I don't really have much control over it anymore, because they then start to go off into like stupid shit, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to like switch off. I have no interest in this anymore, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, sometimes I'm like that. It is good to have it feels refreshing to have a good conversation with someone though. So it is good, like when you can just have a laugh with somebody, but I'd rather be alone than just be like in some toxic group though. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Bye for now.